Okay, we'll start class 5. Um, glad many of you were able to do I know not everybody was able to do, but many of you were able to do the meditation hike, or a few of you were able to do the hike last week. That was a good one. If you missed it, I didn't video it because it's kind of tricky to bring a thing out, as well as when you're doing a walking practice, having a selfie,
Yeah.
it's kind of weird. But I did do an audio recording of the seated practice, which we did in nature, and also an auto recording of the walking practice. I recommend you check that one out if possible, especially the walking one, which those who were in class didn't really get a chance to hear because we were all pacing ourselves like 20, 30 feet apart from each other, so no one could really hear me speaking, but I was talking into the microphone, just kind of doing a guided practice. So you'll get a little more benefit out of that. But the idea behind the walking practice, well, there was a number, but what I was speaking about was if you walk for a while, meaning like at least 15, 20 minutes, you may feel once you hit that amount of time, each of us are different, but the energy starts to shift in your body. You feel your lungs expanding differently. You start breathing more. The chi starts to finally regulate and move through the body much better. I think it's because you're pumping the lungs a little more by walking. Also, you're physically moving your legs and moving your arms, and lymphatics are going like this. And you can feel the energy moving better in your body. So with chi stagnation, liver chi stagnation or otherwise, movement, even just walking 15 to 20 minutes plus a day, you can get into a quieter mental state, a deeper meditation practice, as well as being good for your cardiovascular health. And when you're doing the practice, one thing you could do is focus on the bottom of your feet or kissing the earth as you're doing a walking practice. You can also focus on shifting your weight. So as you're moving, you can say, I'm placing my right foot, placing my left foot, placing my right foot, placing my left foot. And that being your ladder or your anchor from one state of consciousness to another. Or even scan very slowly your whole body, top to bottom or bottom, feet up. I did one when it was top to bottom where you feel the energy moving your head, which when you're walking, our bodies are moving, but our heads are pretty still. The head keeps kind of still, I think, so that we can see straight. So to do that, the neck kind of shifts a little bit as you move. Shoulders move a little bit. There's almost like I don't know, like an hourglass shape being, formed because my arms are moving. Like it's like this. And you can visualize that rotation, and then even kind of like that locomotion of your arms moving. Same thing with your hips. You go down the spine, you can feel that pulsing a bit as you walk. And then when you get to your hips, same thing, this hourglass moving of your hips moving, which thrusts the leg forward as you're walking. And then going down through the thighs, not a lot of movement, actually literally in the bone, but to the knees, doing that action. Lower legs, ankles have all types of fine calibration that needs to happen on every step so that it can catch the ground, you don't slip. And even what are you doing with your heels or even your toes? The toes grasping, are they soft? Are they spread out? So check out that practice and maybe try to do a little bit of walking meditation this week, listening to that one. It's on the YouTube channel. That was the walking practice. One of the purposes of it is as a compassion exercise. As you're walking, you hold that energy of compassion in your heart. We told a story of a dog that's in nature. You go to pet it and it lashes out at you, and all of a sudden you say, well, that's a bad dog, I got to stay away. But then you realize the hind leg of the dog's in a bear trap, and that gives you the idea of, oh wait, it's not a bad dog, it's just suffering. So perhaps I can offer some compassion, first get myself to a safe space so I'm not being injured by this suffering animal. And if I'm skillful enough, then find out a way of resolving the animals suffering by getting help for this dog. So you can hold that vibration of compassion as you're doing a walking practice in the Vipassana meditation. This is a Vipassana meditation teaching as you walk. Yeah, so that's the story behind compassion and how that might relate to people that have been challenging in your life. That was a walking one. The seated one was a one in nature. We're doing a lot of listening. So today, we're going to do a couple practices that stems from this vibration of listening. When we're meditating, typically our eyes are closed unless we're doing a walking practice. So we've shut down that sense. We're not really using the sense of sight to take in information. We're not really touching too much. We're not really tasting much. So there goes another two. So there's three. What else is there? There's hearing. I missed a fifth. Tasting. Yeah, we're not tasting anything either. So hearing is one that's still open unless you practice with earplugs in. Then you don't have that one too much. Although you still hear. You just hear your breathing really deeply, which is also a very interesting practice to do sometime. Put earplugs in and practice. You'll learn a lot about your breathing because you hear your breathing with earplugs in, your eyes closed. At any rate, today I want to do a meditation on sound therapy. I'm going to play the Tibetan singing bowl. We're mostly made of water. Water vibrates. You know, much more obvious than how particles vibrate that are solid. Like a desk, you can't really see it so well, but water you would. So it has quite a powerful impact on us. If the sound is pleasing, euphonious, then we're more peaceful. If it's cacophonous, or fractious, then the opposite. So, if you do meditation practice to music at home, nice to listen to rain. This morning it's a little bit rain, so that's kind of interesting. Or the sound of the, you can go down the beach, hear the ocean waves is very helpful as a sound therapy. Or some people sometimes will meditate listening to fire, crackling of fire. Don't really hear too much of a candlelight, that's a little tricky. But fire sometimes you will. I remember practicing once at a waterfall, Niagara Falls. That was quite an experience. There's CDs on. I know Karma Moffat is a recording artist, and he does like a Tibetan singing bowl CDs. I like one of his called Golden Bowls. It's just him playing, some Tibetan singing bowls for about an hour. When I was in the clinic here, that was the only CD that I was playing for patients. Then he made some other ones that have other sounds with it, like birds, ocean waves, and sound, the bowls. But to me, that's too many things going on at once. I'd rather just have one sound. It's either the sound of rain. I'm not a fan of the sound of a vacuum cleaner or the sound of white noise from a TV, the static. That kind of doesn't, that sounds weird to me. Even though a lot of baby products those are typically your settings. Car ride, vacuum cleaner, rain, nature sounds. So try to find one that maybe works for you and do a little listening to practice. Sometimes they're made of these brass bowls. Sometimes they're made of crystal bowls or other alloy. The timbre of each of these is certainly different, even though this bowl may be, 6-7 inches wide, diameter. If we played 10 brass bowls, same size, they may all sound different. So if you're ever going to buy a bowl, I wouldn't buy it online. I'd go into a shop that has a selection of multiple ones so that you can actually pick out one that feels good to you. That being said, a bowl in the shop may sound different than the bowl where you're using it, meaning in the bowl in your treatment room or in your home. This bowl will sound different here than it will out in nature. this bowl will sound different in this room as opposed to next week in this room. Even the room is the same. It just does. The people in the room, the moment, changes it. My intention, my vibration as I'm playing it, all that changes things. And from the practice management standpoint, you know, in your practice, you may see children, adolescents. Some of them are a little needle. That's not an option. By the way, I wouldn't ever use the term needles when I'm with patients. Have we talked about that one already? You use the term pins. It's a lot easier for people to work with. You know, oh, what are you going to be doing? You know, Dr. So-and-so. Well, I'm going to be using these points. I'm going to be using these points. We're going to, you know, I'm going to be putting in an area. It's going to send something through your nervous system to your brain, releases certain chemicals. You know, it has a desired effect. There's your neurophysiological perspective of what's going on with acupuncture. But when you say I'm going to be using these needles, blood pressure's raised, you know, that hurts. Points don't hurt. Needles hurt in most of our minds. So use points or pins. I use points. I use the word points actually more than pins. I got to be honest. I never use the word needles. No way. At any rate, some kids you may work with, pins are not an option too. So you can consider with them auricular therapy, you know, using, you know, the ear seeds. I love those for kids. You could do the ear seeds and put them in their ear. You could do the ear seeds and put them on the acupuncture point. You know? In fact, kids love drawings, like little artwork. So you take the little ear seed, which is just a little Vacaria seed, you know, small little black seed that helps, you know, activate the point. She moves blood. Did a little piece of surgical tape, and you draw a little, you know, steamboat, or I don't know, a little simplified train, and you put it on. Okay, the train's going to start here. And you put it right there, stomach 36, and then the next part of the train, you have a little caboose, or the next one here at spleen 6. And what happened? Well, the energy is going to go up, you know, like a train moves. Kids like drawings, or maybe a smiley face, or a heart, or a sun. Trains are kind of fun, and boys or girls. So I use those a lot of times with children. I'll work with them. I mean, a lot of times when you needle little kids, especially babies, you might put the point in and you take it out. We typically don't retain the point. You needle it, stimulate it, take it out. And you don't do many points. But if that's not an option, then I would consider doing the auricular, the seeds, and they can press it and massage it, or you can teach the mom or dad, whoever, or the caregivers are with them, to massage it. And you don't need to do many, 2, 4, 8, 6, whatever. And maybe you draw a picture where they are in the body, so they can go find them. You know, people like explanations. Children don't care about it, but the parents do. And the parents want to know that their child's comfortable with you. That's really important. So how does this relate to sound therapy? Acutonics. I don't know if you've heard this one already. They're tuning forks. I have them in my practice. I'm not a rep for them, but I think they're pretty good. You can buy the tuning forks, and right, and you put them on the point. There's a and I put on stomach 36, like this, right? It's vibrating, the shaft of it, and the thing's vibrating at top. So you can do that as sound therapy. You put it in your ear and you hear it, and they're various different, if you go to Acutonics, you can find out. There's other companies that do the same thing. Some tuning forks tonify, some sedate, some warm, some cool. It's different stuff. That's one option. Or if the point is in, put on the top of the point, or even put it between the point. Literally, hits against the needle, hits against the point, and vibrates it. That's sound therapy. I like that stuff. I don't care too much for the electric energy. If a side of the body is kind of dead, or not working so good, sequela of stroke, someone's right side of their body is not working so good, yeah, I get you. We'll use a little E-stim, a little electric acupuncture to kind of get things going. And I need a little more help than just your body doing it yourself, because it's really not much is happening. Or you can do it, on the scalp on the scalp as well, for stroke. But other than that, or if it's very stubborn, it's not, responding to the traditional type of acupuncture where you're using your energy and the patient's energy, nature's energy to heal it. I don't like the synthetic energy so much. That's my personal opinion. So that creates sound, that creates a vibration, that creates change. It's your energy, the patient's energy, putting the point in. I think the sound of the machine is a little different. It's synthetic. It's not the same. So that's acutonics. That's wavelengths. I mean, sure, there's a Japanese artist who took photos of water and crystalline, when they became crystals, with the pleasing sounds versus disturbing sounds, and how the crystals look different. The pleasing one looks more like a snowflake, and the other ones look more like spider fractious, kind of like a cancerous, like these weird disorienting like vessels, or disorienting fractal. So we all make sound and vibrations. Even the people that you're around vibrate. If they're cacophonous, it affects you. If your patients are cacophonous and your energy isn't strong enough, it will affect you and it will make challenges for you. So that's one reason why we do energy cultivation, to make our energy more pure, more clean, so that we can be a better service to people. Because we're affected by the sound or the vibration of people around us. That's why the company you keep, influences the type of person you become. That being said, any questions on this? The way you play this, I'll show this, and I want to give you a chance to all touch it and play with it, but it's like this. Typically, the less you touch it, the better the sound, because if I'm like this, it dampens some of the, just like that, versus it just mutes it if you have too much hands on it. Some of the best speakers, if you're an audiophile, typically very little material touches the actual driver, or whatever it's called, the speaker part, because the sound is dampened that much less. Then you would play it like this. In undergrad, I was pre-med, but also a world music major, so I was very interested in music. Still am. And you could do it harder, more force, or softer. It'll change the different sounds you get. Do faster. Very slow. Changes the sound. So I just want to give you guys a moment to check this guy out. I picked this one up in Dharamsala in northwest. Oh, thanks. Yeah, in northwest India, where the Dalai Lama lives, or that's where he lives in exile. I remember it was a rainy day, muddy. So I went to the shop and I just saw a whole bunch of singing bowls, and I played them for a long time. And I bought two, that one and a smaller one. Smaller ones at home. Musicians, like drummers, like I'm a drummer. I remember you could go to New York City. There's a street that's just all where the professional musicians, like that are maybe touring at Madison Square Garden or big stadiums. They love to go to the street because it's like really high quality stuff. And whenever a big artist is performing in town, usually like they're on that street either the day before or the day after. So it's kind of neat. And I remember I'd go down there like once a year from Connecticut, and you can go into like a soundproof room, and you could set up like 30 17-inch paper thin crashes. They're all the exact same. They're all look something. They sound very differently, and you walk out of there with one.
How do you get it to keep going?
You have to practice.
Yeah. Is it just because I've tried it before? I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Your energy, you strike it, which gets it started.
Yeah.
And then when you're, I like think of it as you're stirring. You're stirring.
See that it goes away.
Yeah.
When I was in India, they did to me like the Tibetan singing bowls, like, and they put it like in the chakras.
On your body, yeah, on your chest, or yeah. Wait, no, try. What you were doing? What I saw? Can I make a comment? I think where to get for help you on that one?
Yeah.
He's doing the exact same thing. Very little of his mallet is actually touching the bowl. Yeah.
Oh, see what?
Now you're getting somewhere. Yeah. Peaceful energy too. Yeah, it's a conversation. One of my great drum teachers. Gosh, you just reminded me. Thank you, man. You just reminded me of a great drum teacher of mine. He taught for 46 years at my college, and this weekend they're having a big 3-night celebration all day and all night. All West African music, and they're dedicating a whole hall, the whole music hall to him. And he was a shaman. He was this West African guy, and he would say, he would hear, he'd be like, do you hear, Mother Summer is knocking, and when you play music, you have to listen to what the instrument's telling you.
Different.
It's not the one, it's the magician. You just keep trying. You just keep playing with it. No. It's just learning.
No, I know. I'm just like, I have to work on my patience. Remember, that's the one that.
That makes two of us. I hear you. For our older and wiser, I'd give you this bowl. But I'm not that old or wise yet. But I'll play. How about that? Is that okay?
Good.
Any questions before we start? So just take a few moments. Soften your energy. Soften your jaw. Slowly inhale and slowly exhale. Scan the body for any tension. And use the breath to relax. Play the Tibetan singing bowl. I invite you to allow the ears to listen and let the mind be still. Just a few more moments in silence. And when you're ready, bring your hands to your heart, if you like. May all the good merits of this practice be offered to the liberation of all beings from suffering. When you're ready, you can slowly allow yourself to come out of your practice and allow your eyes to open. Any comments, feedback?
It was great.
Mm-hmm. A little different than just practicing in silence, just guided with words. What did you like about it?
You can feel the vibration
Mhm.
inside you.
Mm-hmm.
It was different.
Mhm.
I liked it very
Mhm.
much.
Yeah, hopefully it's harmonizing to the nervous system,
Yeah.
you know. Um, any other comments?
I think I preferred the more gentle sound.
I liked it stronger. I felt like I could feel it more.
Anybody observe, like, when they were listening, different sounds sometimes was stronger, sometimes was softer? Did you feel it in other parts of your body? Were there times when you had an opinion, your mind was thinking, oh, I do or I don't like that, or was it more like a stillness, kind of a receiving or observer kind of witness? Any comments on that? Do you feel like in your throat or your abdomen?
I think the louder noise, I felt it more in the chest.
Mm.
And I don't know if it was something like comfortable. I mean, it was okay, but like I felt it like right over here.
I feel like whenever I meditate, I'm always trying to, like in waking life, I'm always moving. Because if I stay in one position too long, my body feels sore. So with sitting, sitting isn't really natural for me. So I try to, when I'm sitting, I feel like all the places that are tight, and I try to find a posture so everything can like sit and stack and not feel pain. And I think that's always my negotiation with meditation, with sitting meditation. But there was that time when I felt all of it go away, like any discomfort in my body, and then the loud sound was like, woo, and there was like a moment of peace.
I agree. Yeah, I felt the same way. It's like it makes you focus more, like when it was really loud and like took over like everything. I don't know. Yeah, it was very tense. I like that too.
Yeah. You could feel it more. You could it blocked out some of the other stuff a little bit more when it was louder.
Yeah.
Yeah, some days, I notice myself more restless physically, and other days less so. Oftentimes after a lot of movement, then it feels really good just to be still. Like that's why a lot of times after like a yoga practice, you'll do shavasana or you'll do like a meditation because you've kind of finally, had that experience where now you can actually sit, as opposed to if you've just been sitting all day in class and then you have to go sit and meditate. It's like, oh, I just need to move.
Yeah.
It was the polar opposite. So these are just observations,
And also, like, there are some subtle alignments in the body that, for me personally, I like to first do my yoga practice, and then when I feel my body aligned, then I can sit for longer. If I go directly,
not there yet. Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Any other comments? Or I mean, put you on the spot, but if there are any comments, you can let us know. Should we take a little break? Yeah. All right. Think of anything else, we can always pick it, speak about it in part 2. So why don't we do a 10-minute break and see you back around 15:15.